Hi. In part 1 of HAL, my stress was on the families of soldiers who are left behind to fend for themselves. In this session, let us talk specifically on HAL. Bandwagons were out in full strength to support Sri Rahulji's Save HAL chant, coupled with Modi, a destroyer of institutions. As per the chant, HAL is destroyed by one Rafale deal. Wasn't HAL established by late Sri Hirachand in 1940 as Hindustan Aircraft Limited? Nation, by well-managed moves, has been retained in the hands of few. If the country belonged to a few, how can private companies be left out? So in 1947, HAL became government property. By 2016, 76-year-old company by then will die because of non-receipt of one order, is it? Is that what the capability government has built after taking over in 1947? To whom are you selling this story, sir? In part 1, with relation to Mirage crash in Bengaluru, I had mentioned that unless the inquiry is complete, it would be premature to write the obituary. The inquiry report puts the blame on HAL on quality of the lost Mirage. That is the end of the story, isn't it? Who is accountable? The logo or the people who made it? What happens to them? Nothing. Imagine if you have to fly such a machine and you're not sure what will that machine do the next minute. All of you have heard about unexplained reasons for the crashes of Boeing 737 MAX series. World over, what happened and what happens here? How much compensation should be paid to the families now? Irony of an idea called Bharat. And hear what Mr. N. Ram, chairman of Hindu, had to say about HAL, since the Hindu had done series of articles on a Rafale story.
Hindustan Aeronautics Limited has done a good job in the past.
HAL has done a good job in the past, like this crash Mirage taking along 2 innocent lives. Now how can one quantify this goodness of HAL? How will one convey the goodness to the families of 2 test pilots who are no more? In our pursuit of larger political games and conspiracies, who cares? Rafale story had to be sold, that's it. Let us talk about pride of our country, locally made Tejas. HAL took 33 years to develop and produce this light combat aircraft and now terribly behind schedule to deliver the aircraft for the orders placed by the Air Force. CAG, another institution that is a joker now as per Sri Chidambaramji in its last year report, raised question on 53 deficiencies in specifications listed by Air Force as necessary. This effectively means Tejas is not the complete aircraft which Air Force wanted. Some domestic pride, and CAG report also pegged the import components 65%. So what is HAL's contribution after 33 years? 35%. IAF has finally decided to take up the issue of non-compliance with the MOD. What will be done after 36 years of time and money spent? Will the protectors of our great institutions, inclusive of Supreme Court, answer this? Do you know, Tejas was benched for 3 months as late as in 2012 over safety issues? So much for the quality and indigenous capability built since independence. Move back to 1st March 2012. Didn't the Parliamentary Consultative Committee on Defence bring up slow production rate of HAL to UPA Defence Minister? Wasn't a special committee formed on the same day to look into this? There already was one consultative committee. Why another committee then? Did UPA have so much extra money in the treasury to do Nyay to selected few in 2012 itself? Is forming a committee itself a solution to the crisis? Some bureaucratic arts that we have mastered over 72 years. I really wonder how many other countries can better us on this out-of-the-box idea of forming committees. Even if committees come out with some answers, what happens to such reports? Sheer waste of taxpayers' money. Okay, special committee was set up. Where is it? Is it still looking slowly at slow production rate of HAL even now? Look at this icing on cake. Another committee, a parliamentary panel, blasts HAL in its report in the second week of December 18 on the same question of slow production rate. Who heads it? Sri Kargeji of Congress. This is 6 years after the special committee was set up by Sri Antoniji. Do paradoxical committees have any dearth in this great land inclusive of Ayodhya? While Sri Kargeji was busy compiling the report which cracked the whip on the ability of great HAL, Sri Rahulji was blissfully singing bhajans in its support. How many media houses have put out this tragic irony in front of us? duplicity exemplified repeatedly. The reality is content for the good of our country or its people gets thrown out of lips, literally and metaphorically. Thus, eyes red from crying, chest thumping about Modi taking jobs away from HAL continues.
Rafale contract is your right. You are the only company in this country that has the experience to build that plane.
Now that we have this new josh and love for HAL and we want only HAL, shall we go and tell Pakistan and China not to attack us till we are ready? And that we are slow in producing everything other than. Isn't this a beautiful world, Sri Rahulji? Once we tell Pakistan and China, there will be no more Pulwama, no more Uri or Doklam, no more Mumbai attacks. Anyway, today's world believes in spread of love and not hatred, right? And funnily, Al-Badr, a terrorist organization of Pak recruiting jihadis on 2nd and 3rd of March, right after Balakot strike, must be my internal fears manifesting as newspaper headlines. Which country has the distinction of coining the phrase flying coffin? Can you have a worst commentary about HAL than this? So far, if it were mixed series, now it is Mirages. Tomorrow it will be another name. State of the affairs will remain the same. The fact is, when taxpayers, that is you and me, are the real owners of organizations like HAL, Air India, with no authority to question, and people who run these milking cows have no accountability, you will continue to have flying coffins for Air Force, sailing deathbeds for the Navy. Can the charade leave out? Moving burning pyres or death pits for the Army. This contribution to Army comes from our famed ordnance factories. And you have a media propaganda, Modi destroys institutions. About 747 of MiGs have crashed till date. Around 170 pilots and 40 civilians have lost their lives. Let me be honest with facts. Inquiries have also put the blame on pilots in some of the accidents. But once the pilot is gone, who is there to give his account of what has happened just prior to the accident? What improvements have happened in HAL that past accidents due to manufacturing defects did not repeat in future? On the contrary, one technical remedy led to another technical defect. Crashes continued.
Hindustan Aeronautics Limited has done a good job in the past.
Lawrence Ferlinghetti in his poem wrote, and I quote, "Pity the nation whose people are sheep and whose shepherds mislead them. Oh, pity the people who allow their rights to erode and their freedoms to be washed away." The story of HAL doesn't end. Let's see UP's negotiation with Dassault involving HAL. As per records submitted by NDA to Supreme Court, there were two unresolved issues. First, HAL required 2.7 times higher man hours compared to the French for manufacture of Rafale aircraft in India. Second, HAL wanted Dassault to take responsibility for the quality of 108 aircraft which would have been manufactured locally. As regards the delay, you and me, the taxpayers, are there on whom these state guests will piggyback anyway. Do you realize in Tejas we are already being roasted alive? So where does that leave HAL? Best part of the system we have nurtured in 72 years. Blame the system. Systemic problem, and the problem itself is solved. And you have non-stop Rafale bhajan for 7 months in the name of HAL. When I did the Rafale story, I had heard about one of the reasons for UPA not concluding the deal. Now you have a likely investigation on that. Does this explain why Christian Michel has lost 16 kilos of weight in Tihar jail? And what did ex-defense minister say in early 2014 regarding the abortion of Rafale after carrying the stillborn baby for 9 long years?
I told you the delay is mainly negotiation is going on because of the shortage of money. This financial year don't expect any finalization of the agreement.
No money to buy 126 Rafales. That is in 2014. And Modi should have the money to buy the same number within 1 year of becoming Prime Minister. In how many TV debates or newspaper articles you have come across this question? Alternately, you had repeated questions on why only 36 and not 126. Where was this question when ex-defense minister spoke of no money? It is the literate class, for narrow, selfish reasons, who have sided with the looters, kept heaping praises to undeserved, that we have reached a stage where the larger population has become sheep. And you have the willingly dumb literate liberals who suddenly lose their freedom whenever Congress goes out of power, and some section of media gets investigative brains for unearthing non-existent scams, again when Congress is out of power. No wonder why delusions of grandeur and charade of comical stupidity continue to be displayed with utter disregard to your intelligence. Consider this. Most of us dismiss all the defense scams as just another case of corruption and close our mind to it. Isn't a defense scam different? By selling your top secret information, you are selling your nation, selling it at a discount. Corruption on top of it is spitting on your motherland's face while sitting on her lap. Dhanya ho Bharat Mata. But haven't we removed the word shame and consciousness from our constitution on 26 Jan 1950 itself? Subjugation by systematic indoctrination has become full and complete. This has stunted our ability for coherent thinking. Hence, defense scams turn out to be merely cases of corruption. As a chief recently said, it is time the nation understands that there is no runner-up in a war. There is also no second chance in a war. On the question of quality of production by HAL, late Dr. Parikar, who was well respected for his uprightness, had said on 26 May 2015, monopoly results in poor quality, and absolute monopoly results in absolutely poor quality.
Hindustan Aeronautics Limited has done a good job in the past.
Are you aware that few employees of HAL were caught by CBI for alleged corruption in January? How come after 76 years? Often we have heard political vendetta of Modi. Shall we call this HAL vendetta by Modi? See my session on Legal Check Review for details on vendetta story. Alternately, isn't the truth kept hidden that palms were greased all along? Neck deep there was corruption and it suited all, top to bottom? If there is corruption in one defense PSU, can other PSUs be paragons of virtue? Didn't some MDs, CEOs of PSU banks go on suspension or dismissal after Modi came to power? Why did CBI arrest Executive Director of Airports Authority of India on 20th March? How come all the worms are coming out now? Is this Modi's PSU vendetta? Or the worms had Ashirwad hand over their heads all this while? HAL AI arrests are done by CBI. CBI is dead as per opposition. Are we having CBI skeletons on the roads? Pun intended. And Modi is a darpok.
मेरा कहना है कि ये डरपोक व्यक्ति है.
This question is to you. How has the darpok controlled so many ghosts and skeletons simultaneously? And why were so many VVIPs paying darshans to officers of dead CBI and ED frequently? Mind you, this is in a land where the powerful and mighty had no fear of the law. If a couple of powerful politicians have tasted jail food, it was only because of their overt courage in indulging in corruption openly, not through a maze of shell companies. Anyways, much needed rest from visits due to elections. Will the visits continue? You have voted. Visits should start soon. But on HAL, truth be told, in place of institutions, word destitutions will probably be more appropriate. And you have a media narration that Modi is a destroyer of institutions. This is the travesty of imbalanced messaging. Lord Tennyson in his poem A Charge of the Light Brigade on Soldiers wrote, and I quote, "Theirs, not to reason why, theirs, but to do and die," unquote. But for a veteran, his is not so soon to die, his is to ask why and why. HAL, CBI or other so-called well-preserved institutions by Congress, corruption is the common thread. The dead CBI and ED, as you are seeing, were all over the place. ED had confiscated property worth over 225 crores of retired IAS officer of UP cadre. It had arrested Nizamuddin Sadiq, a jeweler with unaccounted wealth of over rupees 193 crore in aid of Zakir Naik. Albania has detained
Hitesh Patel,
a US citizen linked to Sterling Biotic fraud case of rupees 8,100 crore. Just a few examples. related to same common thread corruption, came across a modern day Narad Muni who told me, strange are the ways of judicial systems of the world. While Pakistan's ex-PM is in jail, Maldives' former president is in custody, and friend Nirav Modi's bail is rejected in London repeatedly. Back home, Tariq pe Tariq, date after date, but not enough dates in the market. Narayan. Pedo-enslaved media will continue to slap its pre-programmed stories on you. Shouldn't all of us start asking the right questions to right people? Election results are out. 3 cheers to you. But here is the email ID of Modi. Reach out to him, start asking questions relevant for the good of our country.
Truth is, what has been left behind by Congress is corruption-filled crumbling bodies all over.
Jai Hind.